when it comes to movie and TV franchises, there is an art and a skill to writing a film in such a way that you don't need to have watched any of the previous installments in order to enjoy it and understand what's happening in the story. Casual audiences should find your film accessible without needing to have seen several seasons of a TV show or watched a bunch of previous movies. But for hardcore fans who have seen those films and TV shows, they benefit from having additional information, additional context. So the logic should be you don't need to have seen those other productions, but it helps. And that's how your film should be written. It should work on two levels, for fans and for casual audiences. And a classic example of this, off the top of my head, is Star Trek First Contact, the 8th Star Trek film. It's about the Borg. It involves time travel back to the aftermath of the Third World War. Zefram Cochrane is developing his warp ship, and there's first contact with the Vulcans. It explores Picard's trauma and desire for revenge, having been assimilated by the Borg, and yet you can appreciate all of these plot elements without having watched any Star Trek episodes or movies before it. The film's exposition gets you up to speed in no time. But hardcore Trek fans, they know Zefram Cochrane appeared in the original series. They know that the USS Defiant is a ship from Deep Space Nine, where Worf is now stationed. They've seen Picard be assimilated and liberated from the collective in the episode Best of Both Worlds from The Next Generation. And it's nice to have seen those episodes before watching First Contact, but it's not essential. But sadly, it appears that the same cannot be said for Avengers Doomsday, which apparently has a list of essential Marvel movies and a TV show for you to watch before seeing it. And I have to say, I'm not surprised, given the number of characters who appear in the movie, from the likes of the Fantastic Four and the Thunderbolts. And I think it was inevitable that the film was going to be exposition heavy and simply just juggling too many characters. And as a result, some homework is likely required. Well, this is an article from screenrant.com, and I will include it linked below if you want to read the whole article. It says Disney Plus confirms 15 essential Marvel movies and shows to watch before Avengers Doomsday. 15. 15. Are you actually kidding me? So much for this just being a sequel to Avengers Endgame. It says Avengers Doomsday is getting closer to its theatrical release in just a couple of months, as the film was recently highlighted at big events like San Diego Comic-Con and, as of this week, D23 2026. However, Disney Plus has now shared a watch list of Marvel films and series for viewers to check out on the streaming platform before the ensemble feature this December. Check out the full breakdown below. Okay, so let's have a look at this list. Marvel movies and shows to watch before Avengers Doomsday per Disney Plus. X-Men and X2. So the first two X-Men films. Seriously, why? A film from 2000 and a film from 2003. I mean, other than the fact that the first film introduces the X-Men, what could the individual stories of those two films possibly have to do with Doomsday? I mean, everybody knows who the X-Men are anyway. Like, why would you absolutely need to have watched those films first? Captain America, the First Avenger. Why? Is Red Skull and Hydra back or something? The Avengers, as in the first Avengers movie from 2012. Why? Again, why? I mean, you really need to have watched the first Avengers movie. Avengers Infinity War and Endgame. Okay, they obviously make sense. But to be fair, they are movies from 2018 and 2019 respectively. And I really don't think you should have had to have watched those films from several years ago to know what's going on in Doomsday. I mean, yeah, sure, if it's a two-parter like Infinity War and Endgame, in order to understand what's going on in Endgame, you need to have seen part one, Infinity War. It's a cliffhanger, after all. And those films were 1 year apart. That's fair enough. But Doomsday is coming out 8 years after Infinity War and 7 years after Endgame. Those films shouldn't be essential watching to Doomsday. There shouldn't be anything you need to have watched before Doomsday. I mean, to say nothing about the films released any further back than that. I mean, the X-Men films are from over 20 years ago. The first X-Men film came out 26 years ago. You're telling me that you have to watch it? Loki, the TV series Loki, which is 2 seasons. So people need to have watched 2 seasons of a TV show. Well, I guess, I mean, how else are people going to know what the TVA is? I mean, the Time Variance Authority. How are people going to know what that is? And what Loki has been up to over there? Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Why? That's a hard sell. Because the character of Shang-Chi was introduced in that film, and he's also in Doomsday. It's kind of weak. Spider-Man No Way Home. Why? Well, because the multiverse and because Tobey Maguire is in that film, and obviously he's in Doomsday as well. Black Panther Wakanda Forever. No, and never. Because that film should only be watched if you're struggling to sleep at night. Captain America Brave New World. Whoa, that's the hardest sell, actually. That's a much harder sell than Shang-Chi. Why do you need to watch Captain America Brave New World? Because Sam Wilson is now Captain America? I mean, if you've already watched Endgame, you know that already. Although there is a mention of him reforming the New Avengers, and so the New Avengers, that's a plot point in Doomsday, I suppose. But seriously, a throwaway line in Doomsday would have been sufficient. And it doesn't help that of all the films on this list, Captain America Brave New World is, I think without any doubt, by far and away the worst one. I rewatched it recently and it's unwatchable. It's horrendous. Deadpool and Wolverine. Well, because both of those characters are in Doomsday. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Another terrible movie. Probably because of the ending of that movie, where Doctor Strange and that woman, I think it's Clea, they go into the portal in the post-credits scene. Thunderbolts. I guess because there's another Avengers team, previously the Thunderbolts. The Fantastic Four First Steps. I'm not really surprised that makes the list, primarily because Doom has a very brief post-credit scene in that movie. But that scene is so brief and so inconsequential, really, that I just can't believe that you have to watch the whole film just to prepare for Doomsday. I cannot believe they've come up with an essential viewing list for Doomsday. Why is this necessary? Why is this necessary? Well, I think it speaks volumes as to how convoluted and bloated the film is, with too many characters and too many callbacks to events from previous films. And I'm surprised that they didn't throw the Marvels on the list, given that there is a crossover with the X-Men universe at the end of that film, and I think that plays into Doomsday in some way, but perhaps they couldn't bring themselves to put the Marvels on the list because it's even worse than Brave New World. It's a dreadful movie. Look, and I'll know this when I watch Doomsday, but I think that there had to have been a way to write the film in such a way that you don't have to have watched 14 previous films and 1 TV show. I refuse to believe that this list is an absolute requirement. And as a result of that, this may hurt Doomsday a bit if audiences find the film to be somewhat inaccessible in places. But I'm hoping I'm wrong. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. Take care. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.